Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with Season 4, Episode 28 of our weekly Q&A&T videos.
And it's soon going to be Season 5, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Our first question of the week comes from Reapzz, or Reapzz.
I think Reapzz,
it's hard to pronounce.
I don't know what the intention is, but I think it's probably Reapzz.
Yeah, with two Zs. And they say, how come when I play multiplayer, I play against a bunch of Flashpoint treats that are level 60, but when you play against people with level 50 characters, and some don't even have promotion 7 yet, and I'm assuming you mean teams, but they're little treats too. I guess not if you're complaining about them.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that he's talking about the teams that he's watching when he watches, or they watch the Q&A. And it's really one word, it's matchmaker. And I think of all the things that are problematic about Injustice, that's one thing that Injustice gets really right.
Yeah.
Where they start off with a team that's relatively closely matched to what your team stats are. So it ends up being an easy fight because, you know, you're a human being and they're an AI. And then it slowly scales it up so that the last fight, they're significantly higher stats than you.
Unless you start off at max.
Yes, that's true. You're right. And then it becomes more difficult because that stat advantage overcomes a little bit of the
Player advantage?
Intelligence disadvantage of you being a thinking human being.
Yeah, so I mean, the most obvious thing to look for is the fact that you're not playing the exact same team as us. That would explain any difference in play. If you're playing with the exact same team as us, check the levels of what we have, the elite levels of what we have, figure out if any of your guys are health or damage augmented, little things like that, and that would account for the disparity.
Yeah, and I guess sometimes we don't think to say it because it seems obvious, but the issue really is that they can't always match you exactly. There's probably groupings where at certain thresholds, if you're above a certain threshold, they're going to match you with something harder, but if you stay sort of within that range, you're going to get reasonable fights. And so the teams that we're playing typically, say the Flashpoint one, for example, we're only playing Elite 5.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that. So when we're playing Elite 5, then yeah, we're less likely going to be facing Elite 10 level 60 guys unless they're relatively low stat, like not the top golds.
Yeah, for sure. So there we go. Our next question comes from Gabriel, carreno, and they say, does liking the video help you guys get more money? Because I like your vids, and I want you to keep making more, so I want to help out if I can.
Thank you for the sentiment. We really appreciate that. And we talk a lot about actually the reasons why we do it. And
yeah, we can answer your question directly, but we can also answer your question more broadly for what you actually want to accomplish.
So maybe we'll start with more specifically the question.
Yeah. Maybe actually.
Yeah, it's hard because we're talking direct versus indirect benefit, right? Because the direct benefit, the thing that benefits us the most is each view of the ad.
Yeah.
So ad views, generate income, it's money in our pocket.
And we don't actually make money from anything else at the end of the day.
Right.
Only ads.
Right. But from what I understand of the algorithm that YouTube uses, when a video is liked a lot, when it's got a lot of positive, I guess, engagement, is what they call it, then it's more likely to be recommended to other people. So in the long term, I guess, a like is really useful because then it's a better chance when there's more views that somebody's going to be watching the ads and we're going to get income from that.
Yeah, and you mentioned this term, engagement. Engagement is also one of the factors that they use to influence the quality of ads that you get. So high viewer engagement. One of the reasons why YouTubers ask, you know, sometimes at the end of a video, especially a little bit longer videos, they'll ask a question about the content, like, what do you think about this, or what's your opinion on this?
Right.
And that's so that you comment, because comments are engagement, likes are engagement. I don't know what the other metrics are, so that's a kind of function that we don't understand, and so all of that plays into getting quality of ads and also getting quality of YouTube recommendation.
Is it so much that we don't understand, or is it just not transparent, which is to me something different, right?
It might not be even transparent to YouTube because they do a lot of it algorithmically.
Right.
So it's probably a black box that I doubt any individual person at YouTube would have a great understanding of either. So I guess, long story short,
everything you do is good.
Liking the video helps. That comment asking if liking the video helps also helps.
Oh, that's true.
We don't know how much. So that's, if you want to help us get more money, kind of indirectly in a weird roundabout way, you do that. If you want to help us get more money directly, the best thing that I think you can do would be if there's a really long ad on one of our videos and you let the whole thing play out. That's probably the best direct way. But at the end of the day, the difference between you doing that and you not doing that isn't going to be massive to us. We appreciate it, and we appreciate what's important is we appreciate that you want to do it more.
Yeah.
So if you want us to continue making videos, the solution isn't to be... Oh, phone's ringing.
Hold on a second. Nope.
There we go. So the cool thing about it is, by saying, hey, I want to support you guys, what can I do to best do that? That's actually, to us, more important than the difference in ad revenue would be.
Right. I mean, we've gotten away a little bit from this, but for those of you who've been watching this for a while, you might remember that we used to do unboxings.
Yeah.
Because, well, that's another long story. So there were a couple companies that we started actually our channel originally doing unboxings with our primary channel, which quickly became our secondary channel, and this became our primary channel. And it got us started. We got to take a look at stuff. We recommended stuff that we liked.
Yeah.
And then at one point, 2 different subscription services sent us stuff free. And so that actually has a lot of value to us, because when you look at the ad revenue that we get, the value of the boxes was actually maybe within the same order of magnitude as what we were making off the videos in the sort of traditional making money off ads revenue stream.
Yeah.
And we're not doing it as much now because we don't have as much opportunity, but what I actually enjoyed the most originally was, besides, you know, having people watch our stuff, talking to us and stuff about a game that we like, was that I was able to leverage our channel into...
To get cool free stuff that we want.
To get free books. I love reading books. Getting review copies, advanced reading copies of books from writers that I like ahead of time before you could even buy it. That was the best. I do a review in one of our videos, and yeah, that was so cool. More important than even the ad revenue, actually.
So at the end of the day, you've done more than enough already. If you want us to answer your question directly, liking and commenting, I mean, obviously the most direct way to support us is Patreon, but we understand that that's not a reality for a lot of people. Right. And there's some people that, you know, like us but don't like us enough to give us money.
And that's cool.
I get that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm like...
I'm always surprised when there are people who are watching our videos think, you know what, I want to give those guys a few bucks. And I'm totally floored and I want to say honored. That's sort of the word, but it's a little different than that. That it's because it's so surprising to me. Like, there's more of that than there is... Like, it's just, I don't know.
Then, like, an expectation that people will want to do it.
I never expected anything like that kind of positive feedback when we first started doing this channel years ago. So, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
So, to answer your question, you've already, the support to make us want to keep doing videos, you've already done that part.
Yep.
So you're good.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to keep liking and commenting, we're obviously not going to say, tell you to stop. But
that's right.
You told us that you wanted to. That's the most important part.
Yep.
So there we go. Our next question comes from Louis V.
Or Luis.
Luis?
Louis, I think, is Louis, and Luis is Luis, and it's more, I think, a Hispanic way of spelling it and pronouncing it.
Okay. And they ask, there is some way to make Red Lantern / Hal Jordan important again? I really like Red Lantern, but it's sad how useless he is now.
Yeah, all right, so we answered this question recently, actually just less than, or maybe just over 10 episodes ago, which is, you know, like less than 3 months ago. But I wanted to be perfectly clear because, you know, we rambled a bit. And
this is like a list.
It's like, yeah, it's a laundry list of things why I think he's pretty much done. Like, there's no rehabbing Red Lantern Hal Jordan.
Top 4 reasons why Red Lantern Hal Jordan is no longer useful.
Yeah, all right, so number 1... Or I should be going in reverse order. It should be number 4 and leading up to number 1, right?
I don't know. How do we clickbait this? It's too late. Our title's going to be clinical already.
So all right. So the first thing is his special 2 is really low damage, and when he first came out, part of the reason why he was so good was his damage was more than stated. Like, I think 2 or 3 times more than stated.
Yeah, crazy.
But now it's way lower, and part of it is because when you have there's sort of a basic amount of special 2, special 1 damage based on their damage stat, and then it's adjusted depending on what other factors there are. So, for example, Regime Superman, his special 2 is reduced damage because it's unblockable.
Yeah.
And in the case of Red Lantern Hal Jordan, his special 2 is reduced because it does damage over time. The second thing is, his passive gives power back slower than Tantu Totem or Master's Death Card. So you actually have to wait for his power to come back a little bit at a well, not a little bit, but it just, you can see it progress instead of instantly back with Tantu Totem.
Yeah, so it's slower inherently. And also, number 3, it takes away health with every special. So the problem is that, especially because you have to wait, you are doing a special, taking out a chunk of your health, and then waiting and trying your darndest not to take any damage, because every point of damage you take potentially impedes your ability to do future
another special. Right. So even if you took that part of his passive away, even if he did not lose health for doing a special, he would be almost as good as Tantu Totem. But when you add that on, for sure that's worse. And the final thing is, there's really no gear that will make up for these deficits, right? So adding gear to him is not going to make him even as good as most golds that have the Tantu Totem and Master's Death Cart, or maybe even Razzle Ghul Scimitar as a combo. Nothing's going to make up for that passive.
Yeah, so it's the unfortunate reality, and you can't just make him better by adding Tantu Totem and Master's Death Cart, because it doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't need. I mean, maybe he gets his power back faster, but he's still losing a big chunk of health.
Yeah, so the problem is, Tantu Totem's Master's Death Cart combo makes any gold really great, and you can't use it on him to any effect, and his passive isn't as good as
Basically, the best gear now makes no difference on him.
Yeah, if his passive was equivalent to Tantu's Totem or Master's Death Cart, that would open up an extra gear slot, and he would still be good.
Right.
That's really the way that you do it.
Right.
But
so they need to change him for him to be rehabilitated.
Yeah, there's no way for us to make him good again.
Right.
So there we go. Our next question comes from PMD221, and they say, I'm on iOS, and I've done the unlimited glitch since Ancient Katana / Soul Taker Sword rewards. I've done the glitch at least 300 times over different rewards, and have never lost any characters or anything.
So, alright, so this is probably related to our comment. Not comment so much as our video, actually. I think of it as a comment, but talking about why the glitch for unlimited rewards in iOS is particularly dangerous, because you're minimizing minimizing returning to the game, and each time we've seen the same thing happen where people lose a bunch of content before when the game crashed while it was communicating with the server, and I suspect that minimizing too quickly triggers the same kind of thing. And so, I mean, obviously we're iOS, we're Android only, we're not iOS, and we were willing to go out on a bit of a limb. So, obviously take our iOS advice with a grain of salt.
Because we have no clue what the actual specifics are.
Right.
We have an educated guess from what other people have said. We haven't looked at an iOS screen.
Yeah. And it's not happening to everybody, for sure, but it seems to be happening more with iOS than Android. And the one thing you need to keep in mind, because it hasn't happened to you yet, so it feels a little differently until it's happened, but losing all your progress, that's catastrophic.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I guess if you don't care about the game, then maybe it's not such a big deal. But for us, I like the game enough that even without glitches, I'd probably still be playing it.
Yeah, you just would have to restructure what your goal is away from completion.
Yeah. So, and the other thing too is we've been doing this stuff with glitches for a long time. And there was one previous glitch where people were experiencing problems even when we weren't, and it took us another video and a lot of help from. That was when we met the mixed martial arts fighter Lee Remedios. And he helped us because he was actually experiencing some of the problems, and he helped us figure out what people were doing differently than what we were, and we were able to come up with a second video that actually explained the dangers better. So I think when you look at stuff, so if something's really common, even if it's not that bad, then I think it's important to warn people. But if something is not that common but really awful, I think we have an obligation to warn people too.
Yeah, because that risk is not one that I would find worth taking, especially with the amount of stuff in our account.
Right, and here's the other thing too. I mean, having the views is cool. I'm I have no aspirations of making this a living, so I'm not, in my mind, I don't think views are worth it at whatever the cost. Because you know what started me wanting to do something like this? I remember seeing a video way back when we started, and somebody was using the overselling glitch where they'd sell something more than once
I remember
to make
that.
extra credits. But what they hadn't realized when they made the video or hadn't talked about was that when you oversell a character, which they were doing,
You can't get them back.
yeah, you've really messed up the account, and they were doing it with a bunch of different things. So when people were watching the video, what you'd see in the comments were tons of comments saying, hey, well, every time I buy it now, it disappears.
Yeah, they screwed up my account.
Right. And listen, the idea of glitches is cool. I like being able to help people, and I like being able to help them more than I like to get, I don't know, like an extra 100 views or something. So I respect that for you, PMD221, that you're not having trouble, but you're, at this point, for that particular video, I think you were probably not, well, I can't say you're not our audience, because you were, but if you're not obligated to listen to our advice, but we always prefer to take we try to be as careful as we can, and we'd actually rather avoid trouble than run into trouble and then try to fix it.
I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, we talked about what people were having, and what issues people were having, and then we talked about our recommendation.
Yep.
Now you know what issues people are having, and the recommendation is just an opinion.
All right, so
you have the same data we do now.
Okay, and this is totally not connected, but it makes me well, in a way, I'm actually trying to connect them. It makes me think this is like informed consent, and that we're vaccines. So we're trying to prevent stuff instead of helping people deal with it, right? So the vaccination against, say, hepatitis B is way better than trying to treat it. Although Hep C apparently is totally treatable now. I don't know why that occurred to me.
Okay, I don't know why that occurred to you either.
I mean, that was the point of that's the whole point. These are Q&A&T videos, because the T is where we get to ramble, and I don't feel as bad about it, because it's not like we're advertising something different and we are giving people what they didn't want or didn't expect.
That's true. Okay, our next question comes from, well, this is more of a combo. This is where we take a couple talking about the same issue and then address them both at once. InjusticeBerserker asks, what they can do with the breakthrough issue is just get rid of the equipment. Requirement. Oh my goodness. And it's not a question, this is a comment, actually. I'm all over. Okay, when breakthrough first became available, there was no requirement.
And I say that maybe for 1 or 2 events, but not for very long.
Yeah. And then John Salay says, my biggest issue now is, when will they let us upgrade the other half of the gold card characters in the breakthrough? That one's actually a question.
Right. But they're related. It's the same
thing.
Yeah, same thing.
So it's not even really a Q&A&T. It's a Q and C and A and T. There's questions, there's comments, there's answers, there's talking.
Oh, that's true, actually. All right, so to get to the comment question, or the
question contained.
The question. I can ship them the question.
The question contained in the comment, and the comment separate from a question.
So I totally can see why they would limit the characters allowed. I mean, in theory, it's not so bad, because what you're wanting to do is encourage people to play more often and play more regularly, so you can see what the event is, maybe generate a little bit of excitement when certain events that don't happen often, you get a chance to, promote your character that you like to play.
The idea of checking into every gold breakthrough just in case.
Right, so the theory is great, but the execution, I mean, clearly somebody is asleep at the wheel, right? We've gotten a similar kind of impression of people being asleep. That with Survivor, the rotation, we've had the same legendary gears in Android for 8 months now. I think it was November last year, it's July now. So it's like a lot of other things. I mean, it's one of those, I guess maybe they should just remove all restrictions. I don't know. I mean, to me, there's still life left in Injustice.
Yeah.
And it's not one of those things where, the store is now half empty, you open the door so that everybody can just get whatever's left and it doesn't sit there and get moldy, right?
I mean, removing the restrictions would be the quick and easy solution that would be worse than just actually having somebody maintain it. Yeah, but it would work.
Yeah, but that would be so much better if somebody could just maintain it. And that, I think that would take just marginally more effort than to unlock everything. Actually, I think it would be harder because they'd need to put a new setting, right? That would actually be new programming. And this would just mean somebody's attention once every 2 weeks.
So there we go. I don't know.
I still have hope. I mean, I know that it seems like 8 months is a long time, but I still have hope that there's somebody gonna come back and realize that they left the stove on and they're coming back to fix things.
Somebody's gonna come in with a big pile of messy papers. They're gonna burst through the door, like, all cradling them in their arms. They're like, I made a mistake, wait, don't go. Our next question comes from BestGlaive in the world, and they say,
Face it, you're done.
sorry, BDCKR, what are the games that you play on your device or in general?
So sorry.
What mobile games do you guys play besides Injustice?
I'm gonna answer this first, and my answer's gonna be quick.
Yeah.
At this point, I play no mobile games. The one game I was playing, Renegade Midnight Star, shut down. There's no support. It can't connect to servers. It's an online-only game, so I haven't been able to play it for more than a week.
It's very sad.
It is.
As far as mobile games, I play, I would say, 2. Other than Injustice, I play Tap Titans 2, which I mentioned previously. And another thing that I play, which isn't a strictly mobile game, but I play on mobile, is I play Picross games, which is this weird little puzzle game. I highly recommend it. It's like Sudoku, but easier. And I talk about it like binary Sudoku, where each square is either filled in or not filled in. And
like Minecraft?
No. No.
You know there's a bomb or there's not a bomb.
You mean Minesweeper?
Oh, Minesweeper. That's right. Oh my god. It's
That's okay.
early onset Alzheimer's. Sorry.
So you either fill in or don't fill in each square, and you make pictures with it. It's a lot of fun. The app that I use, if you're looking for the specific one, although there's a lot of good ones, is Picross Luna 2 and Picross Luna 1.
Okay.
They're both good.
I think I've seen you play that, because then what you get is an effect afterwards. Once you've done it, it's part of a bigger picture, right?
That's the story mode in Picross Luna 1 and 2.
All right, so that's
there's
what I've
also
seen.
ones where you just make a little picture each. There's like easier or harder. It's fun. I like it a lot. It's a puzzle game. It's very different from this, so I'm not sure if you, the listener, will enjoy it.
Right.
But if you like puzzle games at all, if you like Sudoku but it's a little too hard for you,
Yeah.
I would try this.
Okay.
And then there's a bunch of games that I'm playing on the computer. So not mobile games. Again, it's not fully a recommendation because you're a very different audience. But currently I'm replaying Stardew Valley, which is just a really, really fun farming simulator.
Okay.
It's peaceful. It's simple. It's
Yeah, I think I've seen you play that too.
it's not high stress. I pumped like, I don't know, 50, 60 hours, maybe 70 hours into it when I played through last time. So I'm playing through again. I would like wake up like a little, like 20 minutes earlier so I could get a day in. I really got into this farming game. I was really into making all those high quality sunflower and wheat and blueberries and whatever, you know? So I'm playing that. I'm also playing Shadow of War, the sequel to Shadow of Mordor.
Right, that's the one that's like based on the Middle Earth kind of mythos.
It's very similar to Assassin's Creed Combat, or at least older Assassin's Creed Combat. I know the new stuff is different now, but it's like old Assassin's Creed Combat in a high fantasy setting.
Right.
And it's interesting. It's not perfect. It's really cool, and it's my kind of game. I enjoy it a lot. And then, there's some other sundry stuff. I guess I'll just... this is more of like a big list of things that you can hear about. If anything strikes a chord with you, all these games I'm recommending, I'm enjoying a lot.
Right.
These aren't necessarily a recommendation to you, because, again, very different audience. I play Duck Game. It's a fun arcade multiplayer game if you have friends to play it with, and if you don't, you probably shouldn't buy it, because there's not a lot for single player.
Okay. See, I'm totally old school. My preference if I'm playing a game, I actually like single player.
I enjoy single player a lot too. I think for me, most of my fun in video games at the end of the day is probably going to be multiplayer experiences, just because I find it, you can reuse the same content. It doesn't get old the same way, because what's fun is the experience of playing with somebody else more than having a new thing every time. So it's easier to have a smaller amount of content stretch out more. The same way online works in here, except even more because of the unpredictability of an actual
I guess
person.
that's probably part of the reason why people want so much new content in Injustice, right? Because there is less of that interactive play.
Yeah.
So then the game itself actually needs to evolve to maintain interest.
Yeah. Because Duck Game doesn't have very much content. I think I probably see 100% of the content in it every time I play for more than an hour in a session. Or not quite 100%, but like a vast, vast majority of everything the game has to offer. And I've played it for like, I don't know, 80 hours. Can play it more because I'm playing it with my friends, and so that's That's the advantage. And then Dead Cells is really cool. It's a roguelike 2D Souls-like game. Combat's really, really good. It's one of those games that I play while I listen to podcasts, because it's not too brain intensive, but it's a lot of fun. So I can listen to something else and have most of my attention on the podcast and just have something to keep me occupied, but it's also fun enough that I can play without podcasts. And I would say that's pretty much everything that I've been playing recently, that I've either been playing recently or that I've really enjoyed and that I'm playing kind of on an ongoing basis. So there we go. There's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. It's
true.
Vastly different genres. You've got a puzzle game. You've got like a third person like RPG, like brawler, almost a farming game. But I mean, hopefully, if you end up checking out any of these games, let me know. That would be cool. I don't expect anybody to actually do that, but if you do,
yeah,
I'd be happy to hear it.
I want to hear about it too.
Yeah, so
drop a comment. So what you're saying is you don't have a bias towards any games. You're relatively open-minded.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I pick up stuff that people have told me is good. And by people I mean like YouTubers that I like or people that I know in real life, but mostly like YouTubers or just other content creators that I like. So
ooh, that was right.
Hopefully I can be that for somebody.
That'd be cool.
I don't think so, but you know.
Like an influencer.
Yeah. So there we go. That's all our questions, and that's all of our fights.
Oh, that was your last fight. Okay. So this is the part where we usually talk about our Patreon, but I want to mention a couple things first about the Patreon. So I think Patreon's screwing with us a little bit because it told us that Alberto Jr. Camarillo had canceled the support. We got the notification, but then a few days later, it charged him for July. So he's getting charged even after he'd canceled and Patreon had registered. He was off. So,
and once again, just a huge thank you to you, Alberto.
Oh yeah,
for the support. Really.
Yeah, for how long you were supporting us. So
more than we ever expected or hoped for.
Yeah, but because he got charged again, he's still getting credit for the rest of this month. And we screwed up last week. We mentioned it.
And in perpetuity, I should say. You get credit in perpetuity, Alberto. We appreciate you. Yeah. You're an OG. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Now, we screwed up last week, forgetting to mention Sean Farrell. Creatures of habit that we are, we were only able to remember the one change, which in this case with Alberto turned out to be not a change, at least not yet. And for that, our most abject apologies. We mentioned this in the Eternal Enemies pack opening.
Yeah.
But I thought it was worth mentioning again, because this is where we normally do our patron announcements.
And, I mean, credit to Sean. He was real chill about it.
Yes,
he didn't mind at all. So
yeah.
He was great about it. So thank you. We're sorry, and thank you for not making us have to feel bad about it, because we already do a little bit.
Yeah, I already feel bad about it.
Yeah.
But thank you for being so chill.
Yeah.
So thank you to iProfit, who's supporting us at the Your Message Here tier.
Send us another joke or another message.
Yeah,
I like the last one.
Yeah. And as we said, Sean Farrell and Lane and Daniel Simonson, who support us on the credited level. Mm-hmm. And we're going to make a bit of a departure here, because normally how Patreon works is they charge at the beginning of each month. So when you start sponsoring somebody or patronizing, when you become a patron of somebody, because that's a totally different meaning, right? Patronizing is
it's a different thing.
It's a little bit insulting.
We have gone so over our content. We're gonna have to.
Yeah, maybe I'll stick another game or another fight in to cover this. But
yeah.
So normally what you do is once the first time they get charged is when you start offering them your rewards, right?
Yeah.
But because we're going to be taking a 2-week hiatus in the second half of August, and we're letting you know ahead of time, we're going to mention a couple of new patrons who have signed on but haven't been charged yet. We're going to mention them early because we're going to take the chance that they didn't just sign on so they could get at their content and then bug off before they actually get charged. Mm-hmm. And so our two new patrons are Console Peasant and Eddy G. And apparently Eddy G has a YouTube handle of Eddy the Ed when he was a DJ. Both of whom are supporting us at the highest last word tier.
Yeah, so huge thank you to you guys too.
And since we're being so thankful, and even though it's not a level that's normally covered, but because he's been supporting us for a while too, and I like to say his name, Laszlo Georgiades, who is also supporting us, as a patron in Patreon. I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, and I mean, see, we got so excited by our new patrons and all of our information about it that we forgot to tell you guys how to sign up. If you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/bdckr, or you can click on the link in the bottom right corner at the end of this video. So, huge thank you to all of our patrons, new and old, and thank you to you, the viewer, so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.